Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast this week. I think this is podcast number 4 for the new year, and we are so happy to welcome with us today Vlada. I think it's Lisinenko. Is that right? Did I pronounce it right?
Lisinenko, yeah.
Lisinenko, yeah. She is joining us today. I think it's from Sweden you are today, yeah?
Yes. Hi, Deborah.
She's in Sweden today, and I just wanted to thank you, Vlada, for making the time to talk with us today on my podcast. As you know, the podcast mainly focuses on people's daily lives and how spirituality is interwoven into those things, into the things that we do in our day-to-day life. And today, I'm so happy to announce that Vlada is going to be our guest, and she's going to talk a little bit about her life from a creative perspective. She's the founder and author of Transformative Forms and Exercises. And she's going to introduce herself to us and tell us a little bit about how she got to be on this path, what led her to that, and what does she offer in her day-to-day life that can help people with their spirituality. So Vlada, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah, for inviting and for your beautiful introduction. Yeah. It is actually sometimes also a question, where do you begin to tell about your journey, and what is the beginning? What is the beginning?
Yes.
So that's why it is very interesting. What shall I say about my journey, and say where I'm at this moment, like in Sweden.
Just whatever you feel.
Of my life, or shall I say where I came from. So that's why it is every time like the moment of what is right for that moment. Yes. And so I will just start with the last part of my life being, and this is Sweden. It is also very important moment where I'm at this moment, but also interesting journey, how I came here and what brought me here. So then that way is maybe also is a way to understand who I am and what I'm doing. Sometimes I also don't understand totally fully as any person.
Yes.
But if you know something about Sweden, it's really a big country.
Yes.
And,
it's beautiful. Yes. I visited there, one summer, and I really, truly loved it. It was very beautiful.
Yes. And when you think about Sweden, you think automatically maybe about the nature.
Yes.
And, I lived in the Netherlands. I love that country very much, and it has very beautiful places. But at the same time, I had such a big longing to live in the nature already for many years.
Yes.
It was for me maybe the first connection with Sweden. Just I felt a calling to go to Sweden, and I could not understand totally why. Something was calling me, and it happened just very quickly, just in 1 month, that I decided, and I just stopped the contract for the house. I collected everything and just went to Sweden. And that connection with nature, it was always the place in myself that I had discovered from a very young age, and in the periods that I was in transformation, or in very heavy periods. I had really a longing to go to the nature, and it was enough to be just 1 week to recover totally. And to get great insights within the silence, within that all green around you, or all white. But in the Netherlands, you don't see so much white.
Yes.
So, and I was very curious, what will happen with me as coach, as healer, as person, as whatever I am, if I will be longer than 1 week in the nature. And especially really like in very quiet, silent place, maybe totally alone in the forest. And so I have found that in Sweden. And I see that everything what I did in my life came to some point that I could get even more deepening in everything and in myself. And it was not the easiest year behind my back. Maybe one of the biggest transformations, but I see that it really brings a lot, being the silence, being the nature. And I understand still more and more why Sweden was calling me. Everything is opening.
Yes, because it is in the deep silence that we can truly hear ourselves. And if you can find yourself in such nature with no other distractions, and there's only space to go within. And a lot of the answers always lie within, all the answers lie within us, but we don't know that. And when you don't give yourself another option, you just go within, all the answers will come to you.
Yes, not only the answers, but also a lot of hidden things, things that you like and not, something that you were not aware about. So something just we are not aware about all our talents, all of the talents. We are not aware also about all of our traumas or patterns. So everything becomes very visible. Sometimes you have just to have the space to be able to zoom out of everything where you are at in your life, and sometimes also zoom in. So there are different directions in the way of seeing things in ourselves and also around, also in relationship with other people. And it is also interesting that even being alone with yourself, you can find out a lot about relationship with other people, just to understand why it was not working, and why what is your part in that space, and
your responsibility.
Yes, your responsibility, you take responsibility. And later, when you are in contact with people, you see the change. It's also very interesting. So you can also do it in the silence and with yourself. But I can't say that I'm always, I have been always in the silence. I have, of course, friends in Sweden that I met right away, maybe very quickly. But the most period I was alone till something happened in my life, that I am originally from Ukraine, and I picked up my mother last year in the beginning of the war, and then I lived with my mother for 7 months in Sweden, and it was it was really something like you can never imagine that something can happen like that.
Yes.
You are longing for the silence, you are in the silence, and then something happens in your life, and it is really a big contrast with the silence. But also when my mother left, the transformation that was caused by being together was also still going on till the moment of silence when it came back. And then you see also the difference
in relationships.
Yeah, in
And
relationships.
how do you use this kind of understanding of silence within the work that you do as a coach with other people?
Yeah, when I'm with people, I see also when people are starting the session or the whole course, there is a lot of noise in the head, and there's a lot of action, unnecessary action. And so I invite people also to the silence, like to find silence in themselves through breathing or through just being meditating. Very often when the silence appears, also something becomes more visible, and it is always like the point of the start of the healing process, of transformational process, whatever. But everything happens in the silence. When somebody is in there and start to talk very much, then I invite this person just to go inside first before we will go further. Because sometimes it's just like the way not to be aware what is really happening, and just to run away from the real cause just by talking.
Exactly, because that's what we do as a coping mechanism. So I would like for you to tell us a little bit about what does it mean when you say art as medicine, beauty as medicine? How does that relate into your work?
Yes. Art as medicine, everybody knows about anything about art. And maybe not everybody uses tool in the just daily life, but there are many people that experienced something that when they are drawing or just painting, it helps to relax, it helps to really come back to yourself. And so there are different layers in that form. Maybe I can also say like creative therapy or art as like healing methods. And I was from my childhood, I liked to draw, to paint, and sometimes when I was really very busy, I was just drawing something that didn't have any meaning. And later I started actually in maybe last 10 years, maybe more, I found out actually it was 13 years ago, almost 13 years ago, that something again happened in my life, and I found out art as really great medicine that really helped me to come out of that situation. And later, when I worked with people, I started to use some tools that I found out by myself, also in combination with different tools that I also was practicing. And there were a lot of changes happening. Later, I could really notice that transformational process during the sessions, during retreats, using these tools. So I see it from that time really as medicine, like healing, working with different layers in this different depth. So you can approach it from different sides. So there is a light version, there is a deeper version, but sometimes you can't even know what will happen. So it is up to the person who is who is involved in this process. So it can be one the same workshop, but every person who is in the workshop will experience something different.
Something different, yes.
Deeper, or maybe something really like in it is not only about the depth, but it also in different forms. Like someone can get only the insight from that. One person can go deep into old trauma, and one person will get inspired very much, see something in that field, maybe find out the talent, or find out some new color. As I say, find your own color.
So there's many different levels and layers of the depth and the transformations that people can experience when they use art as a therapy. And what about the concept of beauty as a therapy?
Yes, this is I can name it already like multidimensional being as beauty, because it is a way, it is also like different dimensions and layers, but it is also the way of seeing the world. And when you allow yourself to see the beauty and to invite it into your awareness, the magic happens. And I discovered that by myself, and I started to also to invite beauty in the healing sessions, and invite, but actually to propose the tools that I developed to people. And it was every time something undescribable.
Indescribable.
Indescribable, yes. Something very special. And in one of the, I even created the project, not last summer, but summer before, that I captured people to the photo camera, and the whole process of this change by using of this tool. And it was really interesting to see how the whole body language was changing, how people started to shine, and without pausing. So sometimes also pausing, but from different energy. So you see the change of the energy when people are opening to beauty. And I see it also like my purpose to find a way to to describe and to open this tool to much more people, because as I say, beauty heals the world. I believe that it can really heal the world deeper. And what is more beautiful in the world than the world? And it is so simple. It is so simple. We are searching very often for something far away, and sometimes very complicated, and in the essence it is very simple. And yeah, so it is just like I'm on the mission to show it.
Yes.
And that's
so how would you, like, for our listeners now listening, how would you encourage them to start inviting more to see the world, you know, from a place of beauty? Like, what could they do differently to enhance their ability to see the beauty in the world?
Yes, I can say slow down.
Okay.
The moment of the day that you can just go out, not rushing, but walking very silently, and just really feeling to your breath, your breathing, and just looking around. And so it is just the first step that you will notice already more things than you noticed before.
Yes.
If watching into the window, if you are not able to go out, but just also take a moment that you can slow down and take that moment and meditate with your eyes open.
Yes.
And so it is, we don't have to close our eyes every time.
All the time, because very often we are so busy that we don't see the things that's right in front of us, and the mind makes up, like you said before, you know, it has to be something far away, or it has to be something complicated, because the mind seems to think that it's over there complicated, that's what you have to run after, but it completely shuts down what's here right now. Because so then if you can use your breath, like you suggested as well, if you can use your breath to slow everything down, when you slow everything down and you open your eyes, you can see there's so much beauty around. And perhaps if listeners out there looking to, you know, introduce seeing more beauty in their life, that's a great way to start, as just to slow down a little bit and then just open your eyes. I remember many years ago, I was on a workshop, and one of the techniques was to put a grape in your mouth, but you can't eat it. And you just have to keep the grape in your mouth and twirl it around and, you know, feel the grape and like really spend, I don't know, maybe even 2 or 3 minutes. It was long. That's long to keep a grape in your mouth, because usually we put the grape and we chew and swallow, right? And I can honestly say that since that time, I never thought that a grape could taste that good. That was one aspect, because you just slowed the whole thing down from how you would usually eat the grape. And the number 2 thing that happened is just like, oh, I have never tasted this grape before. Whereas if you were just eating the grapes, you'd be thinking of the grape you ate last year or the day before, the 2 weeks before that, or maybe you might even compare it, that it's not as good as the grape I had 2 days ago. So there's always the mind working, and you're not totally present to enjoy fully what's happening now, because your mind has already made up things, you know, because of the subconscious mind saves so much information, some of them useful, most of them not. So it saves all this information and trying to tell us that we're eating that same grape that we had two weeks ago. So, but if you slow down, then you can honestly and truly open your eyes to the beauty that's surrounding. Even just having a grape to eat is a beautiful thing. The beauty of having the opportunity to taste it, to feel the texture, to see the process of what happens in your mouth when you're chewing it. You know, there's so much you can't even explain it all, right? But what we do is we live so unconsciously that we miss 99% of it.
Yes, and when you are doing that, normally you can eat just several grapes, just one another.
Yes.
When you keep just one grape in your mouth for a longer time, then you can also open more sensations. And one of the sensations, also imagination. So, and if you are creative in your being, or maybe not yet, it can even open the creativity in yourself and fantasy, and then you can imagine the whole world in that grape, in that one grape. Can imagine that that grape just was growing only for you, especially. It's from the small part to the whole grape with all the structure, and that came especially to your mouth to become one with you. And when you are talking about grape, I really, it was, many years ago when I became an entrepreneur. I worked together with several people to make a book, and the book was not finished. Something was happened in the process. But at the beginning of the book, I wrote an exercise. It was about Raisin. Almost.
Yeah.
And I made an illustration, and it was something that came to me like, okay, I want to write a book about the simplicity that what people can do to help themselves already, simple things. And so to introduce that book to other people, other coaches to join. I was not yet a coach at this moment, but I was just like dreaming to become a coach. So it was very light, very light energy of the book, and I wanted to bring that energy to all coaches that will join, that they will introduce their tool, helping to others within that energy. And so that exercise came to me with that Raisin, and so I just shared it everywhere, like to invite people. And later, just years later, I saw the exercise like very famous exercise, mindfulness, about Raisin. And I thought, okay, it is really interesting that you share something and you already do something for the world, even like you are not aware about that, because it is not my name. It is just like spread.
It's just an exercise. It's just an exercise that you just as like how you said it now when I was talking about the grape, and then you further expanded it of like, I loved when you said that you see the whole world in this grape, and this grape grew on the tree for you to become one with it. And it's like, if we could just slow down and live our lives with this kind of expansion, like you would have a completely different life. Life would be so beautiful, because a lot of times when you see the world and the business of the world, what's going on, there's some strife going on, because people always think like, oh, some injustice is being done to them, or they're not getting this, or they're not getting that, or this one is not treating them right. And it's like, if you decide to see the world differently, the world will be different. Like everything rests, the responsibility really rests on you. If you're feeling that you are perceiving the world in a certain way that you don't like, the responsibility rests on you to change your point of view, to slow down, and then to create the world that it is that you want to live in, instead of demanding it from other people.
Yes, and nobody will just fall down from the light, from the sky to help, and and just the next day you wake up and everything is just good,
perfect.
it is already good. It is a lesson that you are just going through. And
Yes.
sometime later, when you take responsibility and make some steps from being aware about what is happening at this moment, sometimes we even don't realize what is happening because we are already ahead of that awareness of what is happening now. But when we take responsibility just to look what is really happening at this moment and to see, okay, what is my part in it and what
Yes.
is part from other people and the whole world and maybe the boss or the politicians or whatever. But what is my part in it? What can I do?
Yes.
What can I how can I be with this energy also
Yes.
to experience that pain and that whatever what happens at that moment. And then from the energy, like being mature, being really like feeling responsible, make small steps, and later maybe even 3 days later, or maybe
some time later, yes. But if
later.
you start, you'll get the results of that earlier on. And I think for me personally, like when I was growing up, I didn't really get that thing that I have a responsibility. You always thought that the people on the outside in the world and everybody else has to change, but I never could see that I had responsibility. So I understand that completely. When people, first hear that, oh, I have a responsibility in this, and it's like, yes. So it's like, yeah, some of us don't know that. And that's why people like myself, and there are many people in the world, we bring awareness to the fact that if you start to take responsibility for the way that you perceive things, and that also if you can maybe be open enough to see that perhaps how I saw it wasn't really the truth of it, and then you're able to slowly start to change your point of view. And when you change your point of view, then everything you look at changes slowly over time. But if you never understand that you have a responsibility in how you see the world and how you perceive the world and how you interact with the world, then it will never change, because you are the only person that has the power to change your perception. And a lot of us think that I'm waiting for the outside to change so that I can change. Well, that's never going to happen. The outside is never going to be different. It's always going to be as it is. And the only one that can change is actually you. But therein also lies your power. So if you're going through your life and you're feeling like, oh, there's so much pain and suffering that I'm going through, and that I'm getting it from outside, like perhaps that is true, but there's still something that you can do when you change your point of view to lessen that pain and suffering. And if you take that responsibility, then you have a good chance to start seeing the world beautiful, to start using it as a medicine, and to see that you are the one that's in control of how you perceive the world.
And return to your words, it is also awareness about the power in ourselves, and also trusting on that power. So seeing, but also trusting, and also like believing that it is really the true power. And also I think just now about when we are children, then when something happens, just we fall down and crying, somebody parents coming helping us, hey, anyway, an adult. So maybe the pattern comes from the childhood, that we used to,
somebody's coming to rescue us, somebody's coming to help us, and then why don't they help us anymore?
Yes, and then it is really a shift, a big shift to learn to be proud to ourselves, to be a parent to ourselves. So it's really the whole process of learning to get in contact with inner child, to care good and take responsibility for that inner child. Really like, oh, okay, no, but you're not alone. Yeah,
Yes.
you needed a parent from outside, but you know,
But that's only for the first few years of your life, and then after that, you could pretty much do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a habit. I think, we get into a habit and a pattern, and I know, like, from the work that I do too, there's a lot of people walking around in the world and they have these wounds that they blame their parents for. And the parents really had nothing to do with it, but that's what they believe. So that's how it appears to them, and that's how it will be for them. But if you really take the time to do your part, to take your responsibility, then there's another step that you can take towards that of becoming free and seeing the world beautiful. Because as long as you're harboring these, resentments and stuff towards, can be parents, could be other people too, you are the one that's suffering too. And when you set yourself free, set the other person free as well, like, everybody benefits. But if you are holding on to your resentments with that, not knowing that somewhere I'm responsible too, it's never going to change, and we're going to perpetuate this pain and suffering in the world. Yeah, so it's very important, to understand, to start to understand, just little baby steps. Can I take responsibility for this relationship? Can I take responsibility for my part in it? And can I heal that aspect of it? And as you heal that aspect of it, you heal for everyone. Even as a society, we heal.
Yeah, but also when you look to the frequencies, to the vibes, and blaming is actually in very low. And when you are aware that you are blaming somebody, and then you see, okay, I'm blaming somebody, and just maybe just starting to laugh about, so okay, I am blaming somebody, okay, yes. I will take responsibility now just for myself. I can't change anybody, but hey, it triggers something in me. What is that in me?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's very good. Well, Vlada, I just want to thank you today for taking some time, and I know the time difference as well, for taking the time to come and talk to us. I really loved so much the concept of beauty as medicine, as art, as medicine. And thank you for explaining to us and helping us to see a little bit, if you want to experience more beauty, it's like, just slow down a little bit, maybe breathe, do everything slower, open your eyes for the things around you. I think these are very simple things, but they can be profound when you implement them in your life. So I hope that our listeners today was a little bit encouraged to try something, one or two aspects that what we talked about today. And I am going to put all Vlada's information of all her she does coaching, she does retreats. She has a lot of tools in the health and wellness area. So I'm going to put all her information down if you want to reach out to her, if you're in her area. Right now she's in Sweden, but these days we can work with people from all over the world because it's so easy with Zoom. So reach out to her, and so thankful that you came and joined us today. And just every small little thing that we can add, that we can talk about to help people to enhance their life, so that they can see all the spiritual aspects in the daily life. So for example, like, maybe take an apple, or take something, some piece of food, and just really be with that and see the result, And so I'd like to encourage people to see the spirituality in their everyday life. Even eating a grape is a spiritual thing. And so thank you, Vlada, for joining us. And we will talk to you. Yeah, we will talk to you guys again next time. Bye, Vlada.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.